Hello there, very good evening to you. You're joining us live on News First. My name is Sonali Waningabadage.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start with a look at the headlines.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa further remanded until the 20th. Mangala Samaraweera makes a revelation on the wealth of the Rajapaksa family.
දලවසෙන් කියනවා රාජපක්ෂ පවුලේ වත්කම බිලියන 18ක් විතර වෙනවයි කියලා.
The SLFP will move forward with unity, a statement from Faisal Mustafa.
අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා මේ සාකච්ඡාවේදී විශේෂ අවවාදයක් දුන්නා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය ආරක්ෂා කිරීම සියලු දෙනාගේම යුතුයකමක්.
Tensions flare at a protest staged by the opposition leader of Kotte against the mayor. UK decides voting begins to elect Britain's next Prime Minister.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa has been returned to remand custody until the 20th of this month. This was after the former minister was produced in the Kadwila Magistrates Court today.
The four suspects, including former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, who were remanded over charges pertaining to financial irregularities, were brought to court today in an ambulance from the National Hospital. While bail applications were submitted for the suspects, written submissions were also made. Postponing the consideration of the bail applications until the 20th of May, the court ordered that the suspects be returned to remand custody. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and the three officials were arrested and remanded on the 22nd of April on charges pertaining to alleged financial irregularities at the Divinagama Development Department. The other three suspects are Dr. Nihal Jayatilaka, former Secretary of the Ministry of Economic Development, former Director General of the Divinagama Development Department R.A.K. Ranavaka, and R.P.B. Tilakasiri, a former Director of the department.
Although we provided the signed documents to the police the very same day, today they asked court for time to receive instructions from the Attorney General. They asked for 2 weeks. On behalf of the defence, we submitted that this was being done with the intent in order to keep the suspects in remand custody. However, the judge gave the police time to provide the documents to the Attorney General and obtain his advice. He ordered that the case be taken up again on the 20th.
A group including several politicians visited former Minister Johnston Fernando, who is in remand custody at the Remand Prison Hospital in Colombo today.
MPs Mahindananda Alutkamage, Kumara Welgama and Bandula Gunawardena were among the first visitors for Johnston Fernando at the Colombo Remand Prison Hospital this morning. A group of SLFP seniors, including the opposition leader, also visited Fernando today. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa also visited Fernando this afternoon. This is a clear-cut civil case. It's a matter of debt. Loans can be taken and repayments can be made later. I do not know how a civil case like this became a criminal case. Certain things become distorted at this time. I do not think that such distortion is good. It is like the Samudhi and Basil Rajapaksa. This is all a single pattern. It is clearly political vengeance.
Minister Mangala Samaraweera says information from foreign intelligence services has revealed that the Rajapaksa family owned total assets worth 18 billion rupees. He made this statement at a media briefing held at Sirikota today.
We witnessed yesterday how we asked President Maithripala Sirisena to give him the post of Prime Minister without any shame. Mahinda Rajapaksa is my friend. He will turn 70 in November. So now he has to act like a grandfather and retire from his duties and do some meritorious deeds. According to information we have received from foreign intelligence services, the Rajapaksa family owns assets worth 18 billion rupees.
දලවසෙන් කියනවා රාජපක්ෂ පවුලේ වත්කම බිලියන 18ක් විතර වෙනවයි කියලා.
A group of UPFA MPs convened a media briefing today to elaborate on the matters discussed at yesterday's meeting between the incumbent and former presidents and the current political climate in the country. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
දිනසියේ ප්‍රකාශිත වැඩසටහනේ රටට වරමක් ඉල්ලනකොට ප්‍රකාශ කළා.
The 100-day manifesto was presented when seeking a mandate from the country. The 100 days concluded on the 23rd of April. Parliament has not been dissolved yet. On behalf of democracy in our country, we demand that they immediately cease this program of dragging on week by week, saying they will dissolve Parliament and make a clear statement regarding the dissolution of Parliament. Even Ranil Wickremesinghe has accepted and stated in Parliament that his is a minority government and that he does not have a majority. We demand that they uphold the people's right to a new Parliament and dissolve Parliament so that we can form a government.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු විසිරුවාරින්ට කියලා අපි බල කර සිටිනවා.
අපි කවුරුවත් දන්නේ නැහැ ඡන්දේ දින මා මැතිවරණය කවදද කියලා.
None of us know the date of election. We do not know when the general election will be held, but it will be one where Mahinda becomes Prime Minister. The presidency is valid for another 6 years. The people are waiting impatiently with each passing week, waiting to form a government with Mahinda as a Prime Minister under the current president. We hope that the Maitri faction of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will pledge their agreement swiftly.
අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඉතා ඉක්මනින් මේ සඳහා අවශ්‍ය එකඟත්වය ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ මෛත්‍රී පාර්ශ්වයෙන් ලැබේ.
මේ සාකච්ඡා තවදුරටත් ඉදිරියට ගෙන යාම සඳහා
A positive message was given that steps will be taken to hold these talks in the future as well. An agreement was reached that our two groups will continue to meet and hold talks without the participation of the incumbent or former presidents. He also said that further talks can be held over the prime ministerial candidacy. Thereby he said that the two groups can continue with talks without the two leaders.
නැතුව අපේ කණ්ඩායම තවදුරටත් මේ සාකච්ඡාව ගෙනියන්නටයි කියලා කිව්වා.
Also speaking at a media briefing convened today, Minister Rajitha Senaratne had this to say regarding yesterday's meeting.
The President made clear the disadvantageous situation with regard to the position of Prime Minister, or rather presenting a Prime Ministerial candidate. He pointed out that there has been no such tradition in Sri Lankan politics and that neither the UNP or the SLFP has ever presented a Prime Ministerial candidate. Secondly, they spoke about the dissolution of local government authorities. The President said there would be no such dissolution. The tenure of several local government authorities is ending, and on that day they will be dissolved, that is all. The President spoke of his clear stance on strengthening the UPFA. He expressed his disappointment and questioned how the UPFA can be rebuilt when persons are insulting the chairman of the UPFA. They made submissions about the Gazette notification for the investigation of corruption and fraud. He said that he has spoken with the Prime Minister about the Gazette notification and that there is a correction that needs to be made. The Prime Minister too had said that he had not seen certain sections of the notification. The fifth item to be discussed was nominations and the nominations board, but there was insufficient time. The people did not vote for elections, they voted for good governance and the 100-day program. We are of the stance that an election must be held when everything in the 100-day program is implemented.
මිනිස්සු ඡන්දේ දුන්නේ මැතිවරණ වලට නෙවෙයි මිනිස්සු ඡන්ද දුන්නේ යහපාලනයේ දවස් 100 වැඩසටහන.
අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා මේ සාකච්ඡාවේදී විශේෂ අවවාදයක් දුන්නා.
At this meeting, His Excellency the President gave some special advice, noting that safeguarding the SLFP is everyone's responsibility. The President is of the opinion that we must move forward together without forming cartels and creating divisions, and that this is the message we must give the party supporters and the people. I think this is very important. The SLFP supporters are fearful that the party will break up. In the end, it is the party faithful that will lose if this happens. I believe yesterday's talks were a good advance. Various people will make various statements, but we need to protect this unity. In its entirety, I believe it was a very progressive discussion. His Excellency the President held talks with the former President and his group with the view that we must move forward with fraternity without being divided.
අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා සහ එතුමාගේ කණ්ඩායමත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡාව ගෙන ගියා.
Staying on the subject of yesterday's meeting between the incumbent and former presidents, speaking at an event in Tangol today, UNP Deputy Leader Minister Sajith Premadasa had this to say.
I speak to His Excellency the President over the phone on a daily basis. I do not speak to him to ask for the Prime Ministerial position. I ask for allocations. I ask for money. For what? For the development of the country. This is not what they had asked for yesterday. They had asked for the Prime Ministership yesterday. They had asked that the local government authorities not be dissolved. What a joke this is. The people who lit firecrackers when this meeting took place may have done so out of the hope that this meeting would bring them much relief, and thinking that this is why the meeting was held. Thereby, I wish to state to the people of this country that no matter what manner of meetings are held, President Maithripala Sirisena will make decisions after thinking about the country. Low-income families in the Tangol area were presented concessionary loans of 100,000 rupees each at an event held at the Enapitiya Viharya.
Speaking at an event held in Homagama yesterday, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, the leader of the Democratic Party, provided an analysis of the results of the January presidential election.
If we did not exist, they would not have been successful at the presidential election. At the presidential elections, certain powerful parties did not play as major a role as we thought. I know that we secured about 700,000 votes for them at the presidential elections. Even the JVP, which was acting backstage, secured about 500,000 votes, a total of 1.2 million. The Hello Rumea provided about 200,000 votes, which is 1.4 million. Maithripala Sirisena alone secured about 300,000 votes for a total of 1.7 million. The upcountry Tamil people voted en masse, providing about 700,000 votes for a total of 2.4 million. Minorities spread out around the country provided another 1.5 million votes for a total of 3.9 million. The UNP brought 2.3 million votes once again. It could have been a maximum of 2.5 million votes. Thereby, even if these powerful parties are now satisfied that they are steering the government, the true situation is that we too have a place in this country. Welcome back to Primetime News. Moving on to other local news, the opposition leader of the Kotte Municipal Council engaged in a demonstration today, claiming that the mayor was connected to a number of corrupt activities and irregularities. Tensions gripped the municipal council premises with the arrival of the mayor at the location.
The sitting of the Sri Javardhanapura Kotte Municipal Council took place today. Subsequent to the day's sessions, opposition leader Sugat Appuhami commenced his demonstration by climbing onto a pillar at the main gate of the municipal council premises.
There are 17 files on corruption. Action has not been taken on any of those files. There needs to be law for this country. Either the councillors need to be accountable or the mayor needs to be held accountable. There is no meaning in this. There are no answers provided when we go to the Bribery Commission.
During the demonstration, a group of councillors headed by the mayor arrived at the location and took measures to remove the opposition leader from the premises.
These things are happening because I oppose the destruction of the municipal council. 200 million rupees has been spent on a construction for the city, yet there is no car park. That is an issue. This is the work of the mayor. This is fraud and corruption. Who do we tell this to? There is no one. This is the only opportunity that we have to speak of these things.
We asked him to get down from the gate. When he was stepping down, he fell on the ground. He has built a building illegally. He has to pay 300,000 rupees to the municipal council. He has evaded that payment. We protested, requesting that the payment to be made.
Opposition leader of the Kotte Municipal Council, Sugat Appuhami, who was injured in the incident, was admitted to the accident ward of the National Hospital this evening.
The mayor climbed onto the gate and dragged me down to the ground, and he kicked me. I sprained my head and hip. His security personnel also assaulted me.
This is the first time that an assault had taken place. We built this government for good governance. We will not allow for any corrupt act to be swept under the rug by allowing such attacks. We request the IGP to implement the law independently.
Now, the opposition leader of the Kotte Municipal Council, Sugat Appuhami, had lodged a complaint with the Walikada police, citing that he was assaulted by the mayor of Kotte. Police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said that the mayor of Kotte, Janaka Ranaka too, had filed a complaint citing the opposite, that he was assaulted by the opposition leader. In addition, another councillor had filed a complaint against the opposition leader for obstruction.
Still in local news, heavy traffic was reported down Castle Street, Borella this afternoon after 4 lampposts fell onto the street. The lampposts had fallen onto the street after a car collided with one of them, setting off a domino effect. One of the street lamps fell onto a bus, causing damage to the bus as well. Fortunately, no casualties were reported. During the recent presidential election period, there were rumors that a backup vehicle of Bollywood actor Salman Khan's security detail was involved in an accident during the actor's visit to Sri Lanka. The said accident left a young boy and girl with serious injuries.
Salman Khan arrived in the island late last year for the recently concluded presidential poll. The accident took place in the Kalapaluava area in Rajgiriya, injuring an 18-year-old youth and a 17-year-old girl. According to an eyewitness account, a Defender Jeep which was travelling at high speed had knocked down the two who were at a bus stand. Later, another Jeep which arrived had sped away with the driver of the Defender, which caused the accident. The youth, who was seriously injured and was receiving treatment at the ICU of the National Hospital in Colombo, had later returned home.
It was at night. I didn't see what happened. I have another operation to undergo my head. I am unable to turn my hand. I was to sit for my A-levels this year, but I am hoping to sit for the exams next year instead.
The girl who was injured in the accident continues to suffer from the injuries sustained to her leg. According to the locals who arrived at the scene of the accident, the persons who were travelling in the Defender were wearing the same attire.
One person was lying there and the bus stop structure was on the road. They were all dressed in black trousers and white shirts. I can say that they were part of a security escort for Salman Khan.
One Defender was travelling at normal speed while another one, which came later, was travelling very fast. The thought had just entered my head that he would not go far when he crashed into the bus stop and the girl who was standing there was thrown away. A third vehicle picked them up and took them away. They were all of the same colour.
ඊට පස්සේ දෙවෙනි එකේ තමයි හැප්පුණේ. කළු පාට වාහනේ ඇක්සිඩන්ට් වෙලා තිබුණ එක.
The one that was crashed was black. The other vehicle was also black. It was at the junction. There were two well-built men in each vehicle and had short haircuts and were wearing shirts and black trousers.
වාහන දෙකේම දෙන්නේ තනි.
However, according to the police, on the said day, although actor Salman Khan had visited a school in the area, there is a gap in the timeline of incidents. The police said that they suspect that a university student who was attending a wedding ceremony at a hotel in the area had caused the accident along with another friend and were driving the defenders. Later, when it was revealed that the number plates of the defender jeep were fake, the police seized another defender jeep bearing the same number plate. These numbers were registered under the name of a minister from the previous administration. Providing a statement to the police, the former minister had said that he had sold the jeep bearing those numbers to another individual. Investigations into the incident are ongoing.
Certain information which are contradictory in nature came to light as we spoke to the police and the area residents with regard to the accident that took place on the 29th of December last year. However, the real information with regard to the incident that occurred in this environment still remain a mystery.
Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake says that although fuel suppliers have requested an increase in fuel prices, permission will not be granted for a price hike. This request has been made in order to cover the losses these companies are incurring in fuel sales.
The Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy, Suren Balankoda, revealed that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Lanka IOC company had requested for permission to increase fuel prices. He noted that a new price formula will be introduced next month. However, petroleum trade unions state that according to the statement made by the new government to decrease the tax imposed on crude oil, the increase of oil prices or the loss incurred by the corporation will not take place. The taxes imposed by the past government on petrol and diesel at rupees 65 and 99 cents and 16 rupees and 1 cent is still being maintained by the current government.
There is a clear problem here. This unusual price reduction was made because the people were facing difficulties. At this time, Maithripala Sirisena, who was the presidential candidate, said that he will reduce fuel prices, and he did. The ministry has held discussions to devise a price mechanism. The government is prepared and it has been taken up for discussion by the relevant ministry.
Meanwhile, Minister of Finance Ravi Karunanayake issuing a communique notes that an increase in fuel prices will not be allowed. The release states that the reason behind such losses is the lack of proper management. The statement reads that while prices may reduce in the future, they will not be increased.
The Supreme Court granted leave to proceed for a fundamental rights petition which was filed over the alleged blocking of the telecasting of the Satana program on Sirasa TV in the run-up to the presidential election last year. The petition was filed by Attorney-at-Law Manju Sri Chandrasena.
The petition cites Sri Lanka Telecom, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the Minister of Media and the Secretary to the Ministry of Media as respondents. The petitioner states that the transmission of the Satana program on the POTV service was blocked on the 22nd of November when he was preparing to watch the program. The petitioner states that his attempts to make inquiries from POTV were unsuccessful and that when he made inquiries from Sirasa TV, he was informed that the program was underway and that the telecast was blocked by POTV. The petitioner claims that his fundamental rights have been violated as a result of him being prevented from watching the Satana program. Granting leave to proceed today, the Supreme Court ordered that the petition be taken up on the 14th of July in order to ascertain the facts. Lawyers appeared for all the respondents in court today. We are not going to reach a settlement on this. We will move forward with the case and we hope that the Supreme Court will give a fair verdict that will help strengthen media freedom. It is necessary to ensure media freedom. The blocking of the Satana program on the Sirasa channel by POTV was clearly politically motivated. This case will help to ensure that such blocking of specific programs does not happen in the future. The Supreme Court will convene on the 14th of July to ascertain the facts of this case, and we will make submissions of facts.
Newsfirst reporter Kasun Karunathilaka from Ratnapura filed this report today.
A collision occurred at about 12:30 this afternoon near the Thirivan-Ketia Kovil on the Ratnapura-Palmadula road. A motorcycle had collided with a parked three-wheeler, causing damages to both vehicles.
Minister Rishad Batuddin convened a media briefing today. Journalists posed questions at this media briefing regarding alleged illegal settlements in Wilpattu.
I wish to mention that when these people went back to their village after 25 years, their village was overgrown and had been turned into jungle. There are no Sinhalese, Tamil or Muslim people living within national parks. However, members of the public have stated on the Newsfirst website that unauthorized settlement is taking place in Wilpattu with the involvement of Rishad Batuddin, and that action must be taken against this illegal action.
In sports news tonight, the 42nd LV Jayavira Memorial Inter-School Boxing Championship, conducted by the Sri Lanka Schools Boxing Association, together with the Amateur Boxing Association of Sri Lanka, commenced today. The Boxing Championship is considered as the most important tournament for school boxers, and it will see competitions being held under the 16 weight classes. Over 400 school boxers will compete under 3 separate age groups. The 42nd LV Jayavira Memorial Inter-School Boxing Championship will conclude on the 11th of May. And on that note, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. I'm Sonali Vanigabaduke.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder, you can keep up to date with all of the news we're following here at Newsfirst by visiting our website, Newsfirst.lk. Alternatively, you can also follow us on Twitter on the handle at Newsfirst_EN. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Newsfirst.English. Good night and good luck.